Well, welcome back to the Community Christian Podcast. We had an awesome Sunday. We had guest speakers this last Sunday talking about the formation of our country on the values of Christianity. And then we had another guest speaker talk about our limitations and how we actually have freedom in our limitations. But this week, we're going to be talking about serving. We call that contribution here at Community Christian. And this Sunday is going to be Contribution Sunday, where we're going to have all of our ministry leaders outside, and you can ask questions and just see what's going on. If you want to serve on a team, you'll be able to connect. But I have here with me Shelley. She is our Student Ministries Director. I've known Shelley for a little while now, and it's been a joy serving with her. So my question for you today is, how did you get into serving? And maybe that started in a church, maybe it was outside of a church, and what value do you see in it?
Yeah, I started serving actually for the first time in the rooms of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
And when I was walking through my sobriety journey, someone told me about how when we have insecurities and we're only focused on ourselves, that we actually become selfish people. And I was like, I don't consider myself selfish. I love to give. I love to be there for others. But when I started thinking about how much time I spent thinking about myself and what other people were thinking of me, it really made me realize that maybe I do have some selfishness in just obsessing on self. And so I was serving coffee in the rooms of AA, and I realized that when you're just connected to something, you feel like more of a part of it. Shortly after that journey, I started attending Community Christian, and I was instantly plugged into and drawn towards serving here and getting connected in this community. So that's kind of where my journey started.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love a way that I view serving is it's a great way to take your eyes off yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, the reality is we are humans and we like to think about ourselves, and we just, it's just part of our nature. But when we can get our eyes off of ourselves onto others, onto Jesus, life just starts to go a little bit more smooth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started serving probably back in junior high, maybe a little bit before that, when I, picked up my first guitar and I started just being a worship leader way back then. I asked to be a worship leader, and I wanted someone to apprentice me into that. And they gave me a shot, and I just kind of have done that ever since. But yeah, serving's been a really cool part of my life. It's a really big part of our church. A scripture that comes to mind that we say so often is, that Jesus didn't come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. And so service is really our, it's a response, and it's an act of worship.
I love that once you start serving too, and you realize what serving does, it kind of opens up just a broader spectrum of where you can serve. Because I find myself now like serving in the grocery store. Like so many people in this world are just obsessed about their self, their schedule, they're getting things done. And so even there, I try to go above and beyond to just serve other people and make such a difference in the way I feel when I'm maybe even in a hectic place, like what could be the grocery store or different stuff like that too. And so it opens up your eyes to see that there really are serving opportunities all around you, which I love too.
Oh yeah. And I mean, if you can, as you start to serve and move into that, I mean, really what happens is you're growing into a person of love as you take the focus of life off of yourself and onto others, onto a bigger picture. And that translates, it's not just in church, but like you said, it's in the grocery store or at your workplace. I remember when I worked at Toyota, I worked there for a year as a service writer, and a big part of my job was just customer service. And I found that I was actually pretty good at it. I ended up being like number 2 in California for all the Toyota dealerships for customer service.
That's cool.
I learned how to serve well in church. Like that's where I learned it, and it started to just kind of permeate, in other areas of my life. Not that I do that perfectly by any means. I'm still very much selfish at times and have to work through that. But serving is a way that helps me get out of that.
Yeah, I love that. I also just as I have stepped into more that God has had for me and have become a full-time minister,
Hmm.
a lot of times I have to remind myself like I'm still serving and look for avenues. Like I'm just going to take the job out of this and make
Hmm.
this about serving. And that's where I see God move the most too, where like I'm not making a job out of this Wednesday night student ministry event. I'm going to go, I'm going to show up, I'm going to serve, I'm going to connect people, because I just feel like
Hmm.
it's a natural gifting that God gave me too, to just connect people. In fact, one of my favorite places that I've served at the church is as an usher and on the welcome team, because
Yeah.
you get to see like when you are that first smile or greeting for someone that's maybe new and uncomfortable and you can welcome them in. You
Hmm.
just see the fruits of it right away. And I think it's just easy for me. And I know that we're not supposed to stay in that easy, which is why I have challenged myself to step into some different places. But I think church has been such an awesome place for me to get connected to. And you really see like, when you're serving the grocery store, you can make someone feel good. But when you're serving in this community, especially, I feel like you're giving someone an opportunity for them to see Jesus. And then every other part of the message and our worship and the
Hmm.
different things we have going on just kind of solidifies that and allows them to walk into a place and experience God. And I think it starts from like the welcome team, the parking lot crew,
Hmm.
all the way up to
Yeah.
like someone being on stage and singing like you, or Pastor Will and Justin giving a message. So I love how all the elements work together too. And that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, we do it together as a
Mm-hmm.
church. I've been thinking a lot about how church communities are they're like family communities in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways. It's the family of God, and in thinking of my own family, and as my kids are growing up, like I want them to contribute to the
Right.
family. Like I can't just always treat them like they're a 1-year-old, right? They're growing into little teenagers or whatever. They're only 7 and 4 right now, but it's like I'm having them take on responsibility. I'm having them share the load, like
Yeah.
of managing the house, right?
Right.
And it's very similar with maybe you're new to faith and you're learning, but there's a moment where it'd be a good idea to step into serving and to
Mm-hmm.
figure out like, all right, what's the gift that God has given me to give back,
Mm-hmm.
and to be a part of this family. So I've been just thinking about the house of God in that way, that we do it together, we worship together, we serve each other, we serve outside the walls as well, of course. But yeah, it's a family event in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you step into serving and when you're connected to something, it just gives you a greater ownership
Hmm.
of like, I want to be there. I'm not going to be late. I'm going to show up. I'm going to wear my community Christian shirt or whatever, because you see how the systems that we've put in place help people to get closer to God. And that's kind of what you're talking about at home too. You're giving your children a system of how they can step into serving, and those fruits, or those seeds that are planted, continue to bear more fruit as they grow up. I can see it
Yeah.
in Granger. Even like when I started student ministry, he was 5 and I kind of had to just drag him along,
Mhm.
and now my son's like, Mom, don't you ever quit student ministry, because I want to take over. And I'm like, okay, like
That's
you can
awesome.
do that, So sometimes you're teaching your kids and others around you how to serve by just loving it yourself and being passionate about it yourself.
Yeah, you're modeling it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, as Jesus modeled it for us.
Right.
And that's really, again, just going back to as we serve, we're becoming more and more a person of love.
Mm-hmm.
And who is that person of love? It's Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so good talking with Shelley here.
Thank you.
This Sunday is our contribution Sunday, the serving side of it at least. And so if you would like to serve, make sure to come this Sunday. Check out all the ministry options. And we look forward to seeing you.
I'm
God
really
bless you.
excited. I think it's going to be awesome. See you there.
It's going to be good.